Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. Today I'm going to be giving you guys a tip and trick because as I've traveled all across the country, I have played with a lot of different people. And there's always one thing that sticks out to me as I'm watching and observing other people play that's so simple, but if you put a little effort into it, it can save you a couple strokes per round. And that is just the simple pitch out. We're going to make this short and simple so that way you can take it to the course for your next round. Let's get started. Just a quick PSA before we jump right into this. I need to let you guys know that this video is designed for the disc golf nerds only. No funny comedy. We are just getting down to business. For your pitch out to be successful, there is something you want to establish though, and that is what I have in my hand right here. These are my two most consistent straight flying woods discs because often if you're pitching out, you might be on kind of a tight tunnel shot, something of the nature. So you need to establish your two go-tos. I'm sure you already know them off the top of your head, but it's very important to establish them, and you need to figure out which distances you feel the most comfortable getting up and down with. A straight shot, maybe a little bit of right turn, maybe a little bit of left turn. Find those discs, find the numbers for each one. Now we can apply it to the course. So let's just say, for instance, your drive lands right in there. Now clearly if it was much farther, you would simply just have to pitch out. But when I stand here and I look at a fairway, I always envision it kind of as a rectangle. And in that rectangle, we have two different lines breaking it up into three squares. Now, what you see a lot of people do is when they're sitting here at their drive, they'll get frustrated because they can't do much, and they're either A, not gonna care and they're just gonna throw it out in the fairway, or two, they're gonna try to be all extra and try to get as much possible distance out of here, when really that's not always necessary, and it's not usually the smartest decision. When I bring up that rectangle and those different squares in it, in my mind, I always think, which square do I want to land in? Which square opens up the fairway the best for me? Now, we have a tricky pin location here, and if you do land in the farthest left square, you open yourself up for more of a hyzer route. If you land in the middle, you kind of need that dead straight flip up, and if you land off here to the right, you got to throw an absolute rope. Now, throwing an absolute rope is more difficult than that slight hyzer shot. That is more consistent to be able to do. So even if you do find yourself farther in the woods and you just have to do a straight pitch out, you know, not gain any forward distance, again, take a second, think which squadron. You see people all the time frustrated and they just do one of these. Well, if they would have actually thrown it a little bit less and landed over here, they would have a shot that's more suitable for them to make it to the pin. So it's always important to take a second and think. That square, rectangle, envision it every time. First thing you need to do while you're just walking up to your drive, analyzing as you walk, which square do I need? And for me, I kind of want that left square. I want that slight hyzer, more of a natural shot. Now we're gonna go back to those comfort numbers and those comfort discs that I was talking about earlier. My Champion Rhino, without question, is my most consistent up and down disc. Now, for that, I'm looking for about 190 feet to 230 feet. Now, yes, I can throw it farther, but again, I'm trying to stay in that sweet spot. So as I walk up to my disc, knowing that, you know, I'm gonna be blind, you can eyeball it, use your rangefinder if you want. And the first thing I'm gonna do is stand, you know, remotely in line with it, and we're gonna shoot ourselves a reading. Now that basket is 250 feet away. So my goal, my pitch out goal, is to get to my comfort zone and then be able to attack it. I'm not trying to rocket a disc. If I try to go for something silly, the max distance I might get from there maybe is 100 feet out of the rough, but the farther you aim to get, the more doors open for silly business, and we don't want that silly business. So I know 200 feet, 50 feet is perfect. I'm just trying to get 50 feet. I'm not trying to fight more. I'm not trying to get less. 50 feet in that general area. As a disc golfer, you just have to have some confidence. You need to have confidence from certain numbers to get up and down. So now that we have our total distance and our pitch out distance established, it's time to revisit that rectangle, because I can eyeball, if we need about 50 feet, I'm aiming for that group of 3 little pine trees there. And again, guys, it's not about getting the most most distance out of the rough. It's not about making the hero shot. You see it all the time. You try to go for something crazy and it goes 2 feet, or you do get farther down, but then you're just in another pitch out situation. You have to play smart. I know I could push something from there. I could go for some hard, low percentage success rate shot with my hex. I could try to do some turnover forehand shot, but best case scenario, I'm gonna get 110 feet out of that rough and still have a 90-foot putt. So I'm gonna take a lot higher of a risk shot, and my best case scenario is a very low percentage make. That is not what we're out here to do. As I come up to my drive here, my target is those 3 pine trees, but I know if I can't get there, if I don't have the confidence in that, I can get up and down from 250 feet with my hex. But if I do that, I want to be more on the left side of the fairway to give me more room to work the hyzer. But I do think we can maneuver our way up there a little bit, so I want to land towards the middle. And we threw that right into a pond, but that is exactly what we're looking for, or a big puddle, I should say. It's just one of those things. It might sound like a lot when you hear it, but all of this you can figure out just walking up. Shoot your rangefinder once, or use that internal rangefinder if you have one. I do lack in that ability. I'm usually pretty far off when I just eyeball something. And as always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Now, tips and tricks are not something that I do often, but lately I have thought about doing them a little more. Now, I like to target the little things that I feel like aren't talked about enough. As far as technique and form, well, there are top level pros giving that advice out a lot better than I ever will. But some of these smaller things can save you more strokes than getting that 400 feet off the tee. So now if this course wasn't flooded, I'd be able to walk right up to my disc and have a pretty routine up and down. Again, I cannot stress enough, if I would have went for the hero shot, I would have either overturned it somewhere up in here, or maybe it hyzered out and go over here. That doesn't do us good. We've all been there. We've all been frustrated, been in a pitch out situation. We just kind of huck our disc out there. We go for the hero shot. You walk up to it and you realize you still have nothing. You still have absolutely nothing. You just managed to get a little farther up the fairway. Then it snowballs and it's a mess. You're sitting there throwing across the fairway shot after shot, trying to do a lot more than what you need to. And just as a little routine, you know, you guys can stand on a fairway like this, the basket's out of sight, very difficult, and just walk. And realize, as you continue to walk across this fairway, you're either going to get more comfortable or less comfortable with the shot. It's all about setting yourself up, taking that extra second to make a shot shape that you can recognize and you're comfortable with. As we all know, guys, disc golf is mostly mental. So putting this into practice, you know, a bad shot's rough enough. If you then fumble the pitch out and then you just create a mess, the snowball has already started. But if you go from a bad shot to a really good up and down to save par, it's actually going to put you more in that positive direction. One of the best things that you can ever keep in your mind when playing this game is sometimes you just have to take your medicine. It doesn't matter if it's your first day or if you're a touring pro. We all have to do it. Like I said, guys, short, simple, and apply it to your next round. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Now it's your turn to go toss some plastic.